Those have been retired with the system have much more years than that. So I was kind of a late comer to this party, and I came kind of a roundabout way. I came with already 27 years of experience in the manufacturing environment, manufacturing accounting. And when I first started, people used to ask me, like, what's the big difference between public accounting and private accounting? And I'd say, well, there's really no difference. It doesn't matter if beans are beans, no matter what kind of jar they're in, you count them the same way. But being from the continuous improvement environment and being able to apply that in the educational setting has been very rewarding and challenging for me. The principles, as Dr. Roberts has explained, the principles are the same no matter what your product is. It's about the process, not the people. And if you have a good process, you'll be able to accomplish whatever you need to. I grew up in New Jersey, worked in Jersey, Philadelphia, New York, South Carolina, Baltimore. South Carolina is where I met Carolyn. Not exactly picked up. That was a bad word. I met Carolyn, and then came back to Baltimore, and ultimately came to Cecil County. And I first didn't settle in Cecil County. I came to work for Terumo, and that was in '87. But I actually went to Delaware to live, of course, because of the favorable tax situation. But I did come to Cecil County as a result of CCPS. I was still working for Terumo, but I got full custody of my son from a previous marriage, and he had to be enrolled in school, and looking at Delaware schools versus Cecil County, and based on recommendations that I had been given from my fellow associates at Terumo, decided to move to Cecil County basically because of CCPS. So even though I wasn't working for CCPS at the time, that's what brought me to Cecil County. So I didn't grow up here, and ultimately, also with the help of Hurricane Hugo, when it hit Charleston, South Carolina, I was able to convince Carolyn to bring her family up here, her 3 children, and marry me and settle in Cecil County. And ultimately, our 4 children went through Cecil County Public Schools and graduated. It was hit and miss there for a while, but we did get them through. And that was in '91. And now they're scattered all over the place. We have one in Maui, one in Somerville, or close to Somerville, North Charleston, South Carolina, which is where we'll be going. We have one in Raleigh, North Carolina, and one somewhere in Switzerland, I think he is. We're not sure. So they're scattered. I was at Terumo for almost 14 years. And it was actually the last couple of years there that I got more familiar with what was going on at Cecil County Public Schools. Through the encouragement of Joe Capini again, his name has come up a couple of times tonight, and actually Kathy Kunda, who was the BPAC coordinator at the time. I got involved with BPAC, and I was on the technical advisory committee with BPAC. So I was able to see what was going on in the school system kind of behind the scenes, and actually had an opportunity to meet the then business services people, Sandy Smith, and actually, I doubt Mr. Schaefer remembers, but him and Frank Slaughter were in a meeting that we sat through a budget presentation, and I was impressed with our whole continuous improvement initiative and what they can sell a pretty big story. You know, they can talk. Education people, you know, they can convince you of anything. So they talk a good talk, but I was impressed with what was going on behind the scenes at Cecil County, not only on the business side of things, but also what was going on the education services side of things. So when the opportunity came up a couple of years later, and there was an opening, I, of course, applied for it and was given the opportunity to join this family. So I'm going to move on to the PowerPoint now, because Dr. Devine's right. She was words, I'm numbers, and I don't. And you can relax. I don't have 75. This was mentioned already tonight. Who knows what it is? It's a bubble. Yeah, it's not. They're not exactly bubbles because this is an Excel spreadsheet, but this is the linkage chart. And this is actually one that we still use today. And this is one relating to internal controls at schools. I'm sure all the school people are familiar with this one, right? But again, this was Carl Roberts, his initiative. And this is what drew me to CCPS, his focus on continuous improvement. And again, it doesn't matter what your industry, you know, what your product is. If you apply these principles, if you set out your goals and objectives and have a plan on how to get there, you pretty much can achieve it. This is my most coveted award, and actually, I think this was a little bit, when they gave it to me, they were being sarcastic. Because, you know, I'd walk down the ed services side of the building and everybody go, oh no, here he comes. So, you know, what's the matter? What do we do? But, and this was Mike Smokes doing at the time, and he's not here, right? But this was given to me at one of the budget presentations for Ed Services back in probably around 2010. I think it was during my no knit to pick. That was my attempt. I hope you caught that, education people. That was my education tie. We were told you need to make your presentations like relate to education. So I thought no knit, too small to pick, right? Elementary people, you got that knit? So anyway, I came back from lunch yesterday, and this was sitting on my desk with a card from Mike Smoke. If you can't read it, it says, "Good morning, world, Mr. Freaking," I can't read it upside down. "Mr. Freaking Ray of Sunshine has arrived." So I thought, what a coincidence, you know, and I was planning on doing this, having this up there, and this arrived yesterday. So thank you, Mike, for that. And, you know, I think I'll wear this to the next council. I wasn't going to go anymore, but I think this is worth showing up in, right, Mr. Meffley? And you know, you heard mentioned the Kappra several times tonight. The Comprehensive Annual Financial Report and the awards that we've gotten. Mr. Schaefer, for several years, finally after several years of getting the award, he says to me, "Kappra, what does that stand for?" So we told him what it was, and he said, "I thought you were saying Kappra. I couldn't figure out why you're giving an award to yourself." So, but this one to me was more valuable than that. And by the way, the story he told at the beginning about the chairs, that's half true. Okay, I never accused him of being vertically challenged. But the chairs are true, and Joe Capini can vouch for this. And also Jenny Saran is another Trumo associate that's here tonight. They actually did cut the legs off their chairs. They also took the stuffing out of the chairs, so when you sat in them, you were like down here, and they were behind their desk, you know, at a much superior position. And I had to remind them every once in a while exactly who won the war. It didn't help me out too much in my career, but I took one of those psychological evaluation things that you do, you know, where they tell you what kind of personality you have. And unlike our beloved visionary superintendent leader, I was just a plain old visionary leader. But the negative has a tendency to piss off powerful people. It actually said that. It actually said that in the evaluation, in the write-up. And I thought, I can't help it. You know, that's my psyche. So, but that part of the story is true. And actually, he knows that because those chairs were donated to us. And they were sitting in the lobby for years, out in the lobby at Booth Street. So that's why, you know, he knew those chairs, you know, the story behind those chairs. This, I think, who gave us this? Donna Zane. Donna Zane gave us this when she was leaving the board. This framed picture of the School of Technology, and I look at this as one of my achievements that I was involved in, but also a failure, because we were not able to convince the then county council that this was a good move. You know, $5 million for 93 acres and a $20 million building. What's the problem? Oh, well, you know, it was going to cost us more than that. And they wanted, actually, one of them wanted us to put up portables, relocatables, down on the site of the current School of Technology. And we're thinking, okay, you're going to put the welding program in a portable? It was amazing. And the little box top for education thing there, that was their suggestion, one of their suggestions for, we needed to find other ways to raise revenue, other than constantly going to the county for money. We needed to find other ways to raise revenue. So this was one of their big pushes to promote box tops for education. She had the library collecting them for us and everything. I would imagine we still are today. But that was amazing, you know. And like Dr. Devine said, we had to wait for new leadership to come in, and then we had to negotiate with new owners of the property, and it wound up costing the county several million dollars more than it should have otherwise. But that building is just a fantastic building, and we should all be very proud of it. There's 700 and some students in those programs today, and there'll be a new diesel program starting next year. So it's a shining star for the county. And this came at, I don't know if you know this, but the old School of Technology, it was the 50th anniversary of that school when we started looking for its replacement. And that school was the first VOTEC school in the state. So, you know, again, that's evidence of Cecil County being leaders in the education realm for years, going back to those early days. Here's the word. Drink up. Dr. Devine used to always say, you know, she's the words, I'm the numbers. And she also used to say, I could write a book about this. You know, all the things that happen in our environment. She said, you know, she would say sometimes you can't make this stuff up, and we need to write a book. So there it is, Mr. Brilliant's book of budgets and bloopers, a comprehensive guide to successful bean counting for the novice CFO. #1 bestseller. Sandy, I'd leave this for you, but this is my only copy. Here it is. It's my only copy. Of course, that's not my doing. This was given to me by Dr. Devine at her last leadership team retreat. She had one of these for every one of us. She made up a book and had a cover on it. And see, she even has my trademark template at the top there. Dr. Devine, inspiration. She truly is an inspiration. She had one of these for every one of us. And I keep this on my conference table in my office. And I've had several people come in, and in the course of a conversation, they'll see it. And they'll pick it up and they'll go, you wrote a book? And I go, yeah. And they're looking at it, and then they open it up, and they see a stamp on it for the Cecil County Library. And then it says, becoming a man of unwavering faith. And then an introduction written by Joel Osteen. And the expression on their face goes, budget bloopers, Joel Osteen, they don't see the connection. Of course, there's nothing in here but Joel Osteen stuff, but I've had a lot of fun with this. Thank you. Anybody remember what these are? Who? You remember? BFOs? Anybody know?
Yeah. Blind flashes of the obvious.
Blind flashes by our, what is it I keep forgetting? Beloved visionary?
Right. Beloved visionary.
Beloved visionary. Mr. Schaefer. Words to live by. I asked him for this when he retired. I asked him if I could have his BFOs. He's got a whole, I don't know how many are there, 20 maybe. He's got a whole collection of them. I also asked Vince Cariello for his ties. And he didn't give them to me. I think he gave them to Mike Felt. Jerry Garcia ties. I remember that. Anyway, BFOs. So I went through them, and I found a couple that I thought were kind of applied to today's event. Remember the Lone Ranger never rode alone. Effective leaders must be able to garner the support of others in the organization. Support that is built on credibility, trust, is important to success. Are these your words? Because you didn't put a credit on here. Well, you didn't put a credit on
I would
here.
never steal anything.
No, okay. And of course, there you see them there. But he lived by these words, and he instilled that on all of us. In fact, Bob Davis, do you remember what he used to say all the time? He used to start and say, what are the two things I expect out of you? Never lie. You remember? You know?
No.
He doesn't remember. Never lie, and always try to do the right thing.
Always try to do the right thing.
And he would mention that to us periodically. Never lie, always try and do the right thing. If you make a mistake, own up to it and move on. There's words I tried to live by. The thing that really aggravated me about him, though, was, I consider myself a pretty good computer guy, and I was doing Excel spreadsheets before there was a Bill Gates, and I'd bring an Excel spreadsheet into his office, and he'd whip out his calculator and a pencil and start checking my numbers on the Excel spreadsheet. And he's going through, and I'm going, I did that on the computer. What are you doing? He said, I just want to make sure. And, damn, he didn't find a mistake. I'm like, God, I can't believe this guy. But truly another, I had the privilege of working with and for some inspirational leaders. And he definitely was one of them. And this is the other one, and it's great. The gift, because I know how to fish. So this is something I'm going to try and live by in retirement. Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach a man to fish, and he'll sit in the boat and drink beer all day. So I know how to do both of those. All I gotta do is get a boat. I got the rod, all I gotta do is get the boat. Where's the rest of my slides?
I took them.
Finally, I have to thank the most important person in my life, Carolyn. Like I said, it took me a little bit to get her up here and with the help of Hurricane Hugo. But when I left Tarumo, kind of unexpectedly, I called her on the way home, and I said, I lost my job, and she said, first she said, you're kidding, and then I said, no, it's really true. And then she said, that's the best thing that ever happened to you. You'll be fine. Well, actually, you were wrong. That's the second best thing that's ever happened. But that's true. That was a turning point for me. She was supportive. And that was 2001, the month before 9/11. So the economy tanked, and there I was, a 50-year-old out of work with a very dismal job market, and it took 12 months to find something, but I basically landed my dream job and was able to get through that period with her support and assistance, and through the last 17 years with her by my side, occasionally tell me to sit down and shut up, or, I've had enough, or, right in the middle of my explaining my PowerPoints to her, she's dozing off, but she's been there for us and for the family, so, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to whatever comes our way in the future. And just as a little side note, those of you who don't know, she experienced an injury recently. It wasn't her first. In fact, most of you probably don't know this, but when I first met her in Charleston, South Carolina, she showed up for work the same place I did on her first day on crutches. She had fallen down, this was her first day of work. She had fallen down her back steps and broke her ankle. That should have told me something about
But I showed up.
But she showed up. Yep, she showed up for work that first day. But she's recovered nicely. So again, thank you all. And you guys absolutely outdid yourselves. That was tremendous. I told you didn't have to do that, but
It beat the horses.
it definitely beat the horses. This is one for the books. So again, thank you all for coming.
This concludes our program this evening. Thank everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Please drive carefully.